Alright, so once you take out the antenna and the microphone wire, you're just going to roll up the ribbon cable for the LCD, and facing this way, you're going to roll it up this way. So roll it up like that. Roll it up pretty tight, but not too tight or else you'll mess up the ribbon cable. So kind of roll it up like that, and it has to be small enough that it'll fit through the hole in the hinge. It's kind of like that. And be very careful because you do not want to rip this ribbon cable. And see, it might take a couple tries. And it's easier to do this before you put the LCD into the frame. Alright, there we go. Got it. Alright. So there we go. And before you put the screen back in its place, we're going to put the microphone wire in. And it has this little rubber thing, you just kind of push on it with your finger and it should go right in. If you have to, you can use a screwdriver. And then push it under these two tabs back here. Push under the wire. Alright, and now you can put the screen back in place. Set that in place, and then we have those little plastic rings in there to hold the speakers. Before you put the other speaker in, I'm going to run the antenna wire under the ribbon cable. Just like that. Alright, and push it in between the tabs. Put the speaker back in. And now we're going to feed the microphone wire under the ribbon cable and through the hole. Might have to bend it a little bit. Be sure not to bend it too much, you might break it. So feed the other one through. Just like that. And you're done. And now we just have to find the ring that we'll put back on the ribbon cable. And now we're going to roll up the ribbon cable again with the wires inside. And it might be easier to go ahead and put the ring on before you feed the ribbon cable through from the LCD, because it might just add one less step. So let's roll it up, put our ring on, feed the wires through, and feed the ribbon cable through. And then it should just fall in its hole like it should. So now everything is in place on the upper half of the DS. So now we grab our top, and we do just like we did, except we do it in reverse. So we put this on, and you kind of offset it a little bit, it'll kind of seat itself, and you see we have a space, and it's the same thing. You just put it on, and then you just kind of slide it back together. Might take a couple tries, just kind of work with it. And right now I feel something sticking out, so always be sure you have nothing sticking out. You might have to have a couple tries. Just work with it. Oh yeah, see? The speaker was offset. There we go. I'll do the same thing. Put the top case back on and slide it in place. Like that, and it should look just like it should. So now we're going to grab the lower inner half of the case, like this. And you can take the buttons out when you open up the DS, but I prefer not to because it's kind of, it's extra work to put them back in place. And now we're going to have to feed the ribbon cable through that little slit in the case once again. It might take a couple tries, but you can get it. And now that the ribbon cable's through, pull it a little bit, and then the cases should just slide together, just like that. Now we're going to grab our barrel hinge, which is available if you lose it from the Nintendo Repair Shop. Slide that in there, slide our cover on, and everything should go together really nicely. Remember, it's the two long screws, the two long Phillips head screws, and we're just going to put both screws back in their place. Alright, make sure they're tight, but don't, wrench them all the way down. Grab the motherboard. And now you're just going to pull the ribbon cable out, but be sure do not rip it. Make sure the black little bar is up. And feed the end of the ribbon cable into the connector. Like so. Push it in, make sure it's in all the way, and pull the black bar back down to lock it in place. So now, I'm going to pull the white microphone wire and pull it in between this little circle and the thing that sticks up for the trigger buttons, and put it through all its little notches. And I kind of pull it tight like that so it'll stay. Bring the black wire, bring it under the motherboard so that when you set it down it's sticking out. Bring it on the inside of the ribbon cable and set the screen back in place, and it should kind of sit itself. So now we're going to grab the white microphone wire. Remember, it's just a little button snap, so you're just going to press it, center it on top of the button, and just push, and it should go right on. Might take a few tries, but you'll get it. There we go. Alright, now with the black wire, we're going to have to feed it back under the silver game slot. So straighten it out, and make sure the end is not sticking up, make sure it's flat. And we're just going to have to feed it right under here. And it might take a few tries, a little bit of wiggling, but it should just slide right through. This one seems to be having trouble. There we go. Thought I had it. Just keep trying, you'll get it eventually. I've done this many times and it still takes me a couple tries. There we go. And see, it just pops out the other side. And just grab it. And we're going to put it back on the RF card right up here. Make sure you have it centered up. There we go. Make sure it snaps down all the way. Alright. And pull it tight. And now we're going to put back on our trigger buttons. Just spin it back around. And put the little thing in the hole. And it might be easier to use your fingers, but I prefer to use the tweezers to grab the spring and put it back in between the connectors, or in between the separation. There we go. Make sure that's in there good. Grab the other one. Put it on the other side. Get your tweezers and put it back in. And now the whole thing should look like this.